I'd like you to close your eyes just for a moment and imagine it is morning, pre-dawn, that moment after the dark of night has passed and just before the birds begin their dawn chorus. There is a vessel arriving at port, and the pilot launch is churning its way to the pilot boarding ground. The pilot and coxswain are discussing the coming boarding operations. The vessel makes a lee, and the deckhand assesses the ladder, doing all the standard checks. The pilot boards the vessel, greets the third mate and deckhand, and is escorted to the bridge. There, the pilot explains the route to the master, and they complete their exchange, sharing the mental model for the passage to come. The vessel proceeds to the port entrance, noting the information provided by the VTS operator. The passage continues as planned. The tugs are engaged to assist the berthing operation, and the vessel is made all fast. Now, open your eyes. Did you visualize the scenario? Who did you imagine in each of the roles? The pilot launch crew, the pilot, the third mate, deckhand, master, tug crew, VTS operator. How many women did you imagine, and in what roles? How many Indigenous people? What diversity intersections did you imagine? In an industry where we still hear that 2% of seafarers are women, it is very common to visualize a traditional norm. Yet we must dare to have a vision that challenges that norm, a vision of inclusion, acceptance, and, yes, celebration of diversity. But what does diversity mean? Well, the Webster Dictionary tells us that diversity is the condition of having or being composed of different elements. Diversity can vary in different organizations. I think of diversity as a variety of people who work in an organization. There are people who think differently and express different views, people who have different experiences, and people who identify with a diverse range of characteristics. I also believe diversity isn't just about how others perceive us. It is about how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive others. If diversity is a variety of differences between people in an organization, inclusion is, well, making sure that all of these people matter, that their differences are appreciated, respected, and celebrated. We know that diversity and inclusion is good for business. Studies by Deloitte, McKinsey, and more highlight that companies with gender diversity are more innovative and agile, they achieve better business outcomes, and they are more profitable. The 2017 Westpac Diversity Dividend Report quantified the value of inclusion. They stated that having equal gender representation in leadership could be worth an extra $10.8 billion to the economy. Why then do significant gaps in diversity and inclusion still exist in the maritime industry? The 2020 Diversity Women in Maritime report, prepared by the Maritime Industry Australia Limited, identified that while there is agreement between companies and employees in recognizing the importance of diversity and equality in the workplace, there are areas where there is a disconnect between what the companies say they are doing and what the employees experience. This may be reflected in the lack of diversity strategies in the recruitment process, not addressing work-life balance, and the ongoing presence of unconscious bias. When I joined my first ship as a young cadet on sea phase in the 1980s, I was excited. I was eager to put into action the skills I had learned at the college. When I faced almost immediate harassment and discrimination, I didn't know what to think. So I didn't. I just didn't think about it. I put it aside. The newspaper clippings on the bunk explaining why women shouldn't be at sea. the flowers that were sent to me for my birthday thrown overboard, the tasks put before me that would have been impossible for a group of male seafarers, putting me into a position where I would have to look like a lightweight and ask for help. I tried to fit in. I worked harder. I focused on the job of navigating a ship, which I loved, hoping things would change. It was hard. I suffered verbal, mental, and physical abuse. I told myself I had to toughen up, that if I was feeling targeted, it was my own fault. I needed to do more, to be better. I didn't see the sexism, racism, and misogyny. I had no thought to ask for help. And if I did consider it, I was concerned that I'd never see another shipboard posting again. I didn't want to be labeled, so I didn't say anything. The journey that you have navigated over the course of the focus group has highlighted the many challenges faced by women and Indigenous peoples in the maritime industry. Challenges that I and so many others have faced in the past. Challenges that we learn to overcome by adapting, by accepting, and by ignoring. But enough is enough. We cannot adapt. We cannot accept. We cannot ignore and move on. Many years ago, the industry almost broke me, but the sea had already grabbed hold of my soul. The industry had become so much a part of me. I found ways to remain, positions where I could regain some of myself while still working in this amazing, multifaceted industry. More than 30 years have passed, yet I realized that really not much has passed at all. Not much has changed. Well, except for one thing, the fact that we are now talking about these issues. Today, we are talking about diversity and inclusion. We are sharing our experiences openly, and we are identifying solutions. The strength that each of us has within, the strength that propels us through our journey in maritime, is amplified by the strength of our voices raised together. In order to address the biases in our industry, we need to call them out. We need to make others aware, to move from unconscious bias to conscious acceptance. We have an opportunity to achieve a vision of the industry where, in our story of the ship arriving to port, we see a fully diverse group of maritime professionals involved in all aspects of the journey. To do this, we need to be seen. We need to be heard. We need to hold individuals and organizations accountable and navigate the barriers. To be it, you need to see it. To see it, we need to be seen. This is the moment to stand up, be seen, and set the course for a vibrant, diverse, and inclusive maritime industry.